Hey, Chalice, this is Jim, and I'm coming to you with another update from our coaching sessions. As you can tell, this one's going to be a little different. We've included pictures, and I'm going to give you some more details about what we have in front of us here. You'll notice the picture on the left is a Google view, and we've got the fireworks stand right there, which is kind of fun. But you can see that's where the church property sits right now. So let's look at what we've got. This is our property defined here. You can see that we've already sold actually a little piece of it. You'll notice it takes a little chunk there out of that northern portion of the land. The current loan on the property is $1.3 million. All right. In addition to that $1.3 million, we've determined that we're going to need to spend about $100,000 over the next 5 years in various maintenance items. That number is a real number that we've calculated by looking at how much it costs to fix roofs, air conditioning units, and landscaping. I mean, that's a solid number. The other issue we have is looking at the 2022 budget. We're looking at about a 20% shortfall. That's something just north of $20,000. And then the last figure here that is just sort of the state of things is we've talked to Church Extension about what would it cost to finance, a leftover portion of the loan, and they said that they would like to see us do it at, about a 10-year loan, and they're looking at about a 5% rate. So that works out to roughly $100 a month for every $10,000 of refinancing. Okay, so here's the first option, the option that frankly we've talked about a lot, which is that we would sell this northern part of the property. We would expect to get $1.2 million from that sale. That leaves us with $100,000 left on the loan, and it leaves us with $100,000 of repairs that would have to be made. And so that means we would have to generate or otherwise fund about $200,000. Now, I projected here that that's going to increase our budget shortfall to $40-ish thousand, maybe closer to 50, about a 40% shortfall. And the reason I did that is I was assuming that we would finance that $200,000. Obviously, if the $200,000 was to be paid all at once, then that would be very different. But this assumes that we would refinance it. So we still would find ourselves at about a shortfall of about 40%. Now, one of the things that came out of the coaching sessions was the idea that perhaps we could partner with another entity, and that the other entity could use our building and help us with the cost. I want to point out that that would be neat, but that requires us finding a partner who wants to use this building and is also willing to shoulder the upkeep costs that we're talking about. At this time, we don't have that partner. That is just an idea. So at this point, it looks like if we're looking at option one, we're looking at the shortfall option. Option two, of course, is to sell the whole property. We would project a sale price of about $3.2 million. Notice that we would not have the upkeep costs would go away if we did this, and we would result with a surplus of about $2 million. That $2 million could be invested, and there's numbers about how much you would expect to come out of that. I don't know, somewhere in the neighborhood of $60,000, I think is what we heard. But in any case, you could invest the $2 million and use that for general funds. You also could frankly take a portion of the general fund of that $2 million and pay a 10-year lease or something like that. And then your budget shortfall is adjusted because you wouldn't have the cost of a lease, although that's not been a big cost for us. So that's option number two. A part of the option number two, of course, is to think about where would we relocate. We would have options. We could find a partner now. We could find a partner that wanted to go in on us with a building or another facility and rent it. And maybe that would be an option. We also, as I was kind of mentioning, we could enter into a long-term lease in a storefront. So that's where we would have our own dedicated space, but it would be, as in a shopping center, for example. Or we could share space with another Disciples church. We talked about some churches that own their building. They have a lot of space, but their congregation is smaller, and they would be able to sort of maybe co-locate with us. Because the financial analysis shows so strongly, frankly, supportive of selling the whole property, I do want to take a breath here to point out that there are some non-financial aspects that go along with selling the property. I've indicated over here the horse trough baptism sites. James, my son, was baptized in a horse trough there on that part of the property. We've got our cool electric sign that was a generous gift supported, and then others of us donated to sort of make happen. And I really love that sign. The Oasis is, of course, very special to me, and that's at our congregation, as is the Eagle Scout playground that Howard did for his Eagle Scout. Sean Howard did for his Eagle Scout. And Probably most significant for me is the Lobdell baptistry, the baptistry that the Lobdell family donated, and has been such a cool part of our overall structure. So I think that's something for us to think about when we're doing this evaluation. Um, but the other thing that these coaching sessions have allowed us to do is really envision what makes Chalice Chalice. And that's this last slide that I have for you. We describe ourselves as a group of 50 Christians willing to grow and be innovative, who welcome all people regardless of gender, race, sexual orientation, or gender identity. We encourage tough questions, and that's all the way from worship and wonder with our children, all the way up to adult Sunday school. We take seriously our mission to care for God's children, including and especially the immigrant, the homeless, the hungry, the needy. That's what Chalice is. And so Chalice is looking for how to be Chalice. That's what we're going to talk about on the 19th. I really encourage you to come. You can see here that some of the work we've done has sort of narrowed down our options and has frankly made somewhat clear the path we need to take. I don't know if that's true or not, but it seems to me that that's there. But there are many decisions to be made, and there's much work to be done. And I hope that you will come and join us at the next session on the 19th. Thank you.